In this module, let's talk about the next two business basics you need to understand for selling on Amazon. That's accounting and administrative stuff and insurance. Now, most people don't realize you actually need insurance to sell on Amazon. When you first start, you might be able to get away without having insurance, but I don't recommend you do that. Insurance is very, very important in today's world, especially when selling in the United States where people are likely to sue for anything. There's two types of insurance you need to be aware of. There's product insurance, which actually covers anything related to your product, and then there's general liability insurance, which is not product specific, but more of a general type of coverage. Let's talk a little bit more about each one of those. Now, Amazon requires you to actually have general liability insurance at this point if you've been selling for at least 3 months and done over $10,000 per month. So until you hit that threshold of 3 months at $10,000 or more per month in gross sales, technically, Amazon doesn't require you to have the insurance as of this moment. But I still recommend you actually get it. It's not very expensive. It's about $600 per year, roughly, give or take. You might be able to get it a little bit cheaper, a little bit higher. Now, this is not something that you're going to call your State Farm agent and get. This is a special type of insurance for business. And probably the best source to get either general liability or product for Amazon sellers is a woman named Ashlyn Haddon, A-S-H-L-I-N Haddon. And if you look down in the notes, there should be probably a link to her website. But she's probably the best one that really knows this business inside and out. She can help you whether you live in the United States or you live overseas in making sure you're completely covered and completely in line with what you need for selling on Amazon insurance-wise. Now, general liability covers, it's an umbrella thing, and almost any place you sell requires this. I mean, if you go into Walmart, if you go into any other kind of retail store, they're going to require you to have general liability. And usually it's either a $1 million or a $2 million policy. And like I said, these only cost about $600 per year, but these cover things like if something happens in the warehouse, or if the UPS driver, when he's delivering, stumbles over the package, or just general things like that is what general liability covers. And that's what Amazon requires. So that if one of their workers is picking up your case and checking it in and somehow it breaks his back, that would be covered under general liability type of insurance. The other type is product liability insurance. Product liability insurance is very specific to the product. So if you have like an exercise device and someone is using, let's say it's an ab roller, and they're doing their abdominal workouts and they hurt their back, and then they decide to sue you because they say the product was not made right, or it broke right in the middle of them rolling out or something like that, that would be covered under product liability insurance. So if you have a product that has a risk to it, you're going to really want to consider getting product liability insurance. Product liability insurance is quite a bit more expensive. It's based on risk. It's based on how risky is the product, where are you selling it, how much do you sell, and a number of other factors. It can run anywhere from $1,000 to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on your sales volume and what you're selling. Typically, to start out, you can do like a little estimate and say, hey, I'm just going to sell $100,000 this year, something like that. And so you can keep that cost down pretty low the first year. And then every year they audit you. And so you'll get little audit for product liability insurance from the insurance company. You got to fill out a form, show them some financials, and then they adjust the insurance policy. They'll adjust what they're charging you based on that. And they may put some restrictions on there on certain places you can sell, certain places you can't sell. But that's what product liability insurance is. And so that one, I recommend you actually get both if you really want to be a true business person and truly protect yourself. A lot of people, when they're first starting out, they don't have the funds or the money to do both of them. If you have to choose one, just get the general liability. And like I said, if you're just really strapped, you could potentially wait until you hit that $10,000 threshold to get it. I don't recommend you do that, though. It's better to be protected up front. And I think Amazon's probably going to be making some more changes along these lines. They've been getting some lawsuits against them for some products and different things, and I think they're going to start enforcing this a little bit more. In the past, they've been a little bit lax on it, but now people are actually starting to get emails and saying, hey, if you don't prove that you have this, we're going to suspend your account. So it's something to keep in mind that's very important. The next thing is regards to accounting, and accounting on Amazon, is very, very important. And a lot of people really drop the ball here. I mean, Helium 10 has the Profits tool, which is an awesome tool to get a snapshot of exactly what's going on, but it's not an accounting tool. So you can use profits as a day-to-day to kind of just see where you're at in your business, see how things are doing, make some adjustments in your PPC, control some of your inventory. It's a great tool for the basics. But to do proper, true accounting, you're going to need a proper professional accounting tool, or you can hire a company. And there's one of the modules here. We have someone from CapForge, which is one of the top e-commerce accounting companies, that's going to be talking to you about some e-commerce accounting. They don't charge a lot of money for the bookkeeping. It's it depends on your sales volume, but somewhere between $150 to $300 a month just to do your basic bookkeeping, do your basic financials, which is worth it for a lot of people. They just don't want to mess with that. But if you do want to do it yourself or know how it works, the two best tools are QuickBooks Pro or Xero. Those are the two most. GoDaddy has some software, but it's not very good. I would recommend either QuickBooks Pro or Xero accounting software. Those are going to run you a few $100 or more to get those set up. But those are really good tools, and there's something called A2X, which actually will tie all your Amazon sales to those tools. And it will actually allow you to import the data that Amazon gives you. They give you reports every time they pay you, and it will automatically map all the different expenses and everything. You have to set it up one time, and it'll bring everything in automatically into those tools. So those are two that you're going to want to look at if you don't have a bookkeeper outside of Amazon doing it for you. And these bookkeepers, they're outside of Amazon. You can actually give them access. You can go into your permissions and actually give them access to just the basic. They don't get access to your whole account. Amazon has a setup in Seller Central where you can control what different people can access, whether that's a VA or accounting person or an advertising person. You can control. They can only access certain areas of the account. So they can download all that stuff behind the scenes, and you don't have to be involved at all. The other thing you got to make sure you have is what's called an EIN. So an EIN is an employment identification number. And this is something that you get at irs.gov in the United States. And this is a number that identifies you. It's kind of like a social security number or a national ID number. So if you're operating as sole proprietorship, you can use your social security number. But if you recall in the last one of the last modules, I don't recommend you do that. I recommend you actually set up an LLC or a C Corp or S Corp, depending on your situation. And then you're going to want to apply for an EIN. And you can apply for an EIN if you're international as well. You don't have to be a U.S. Citizen to get an EIN. It's free, so don't go to any website where they charge you money to do it. You can do it for free at irs.gov. It takes just minutes to do. You fill out some basic stuff, and they give you that number. That number you're going to need to open your bank account. So when you open a bank account, you're going to want to make sure you open a bank account under your business name. Don't ever try to never do business on Amazon through your personal account unless you're just selling a few things here or there. You need to make sure you set up a special business account using the EIN instead of your tax number. Make sure you keep your personal stuff separate. So if you have get a credit card or a debit card for that business account and use that for all your business expenses. Try not to mix any personal or business things. It's going to cause you complications. So if you have a personal credit card you've been charging things on, try to get that, either use that card exclusively for business and don't use it for anything else, or try to get a card under the business name through your business bank account if you can. You can have multiple accounts on Amazon. So you can have multiple storefronts on Amazon with Amazon's permission. But each account has to be a separate business entity. So if you are setting up an account for yourself and then you're partnering with a buddy of yours to actually do an Amazon business, don't put that through the same account. Put it through two separate bank accounts, two separate EINs, two separate companies. And as long as they're not selling the same thing, and ideally not even in the same subcategory or category, then you're gonna be fine selling on Amazon. You'll hear a lot of stuff where people saying that you gotta use VPNs or be careful with that. As long as you're playing by the rules, you're gonna be fine. The next thing is sales tax. In the United States, sales tax is added at the end added to the price, versus most countries have like a VAT that's included in the price. So in the United States, if it says on Amazon it's $20, it's really $20 plus the sales tax, and the sales tax varies by state. Some states, there's like 5 or 6 states that don't have a sales tax. Other states, they range from 5.5% to like 9-10% tax. So it depends on the state that it's being shipped to is how much the tax is. So it gets really complicated really fast. In the past, as sellers, we had to keep track of all this stuff, but no longer, pretty much. Amazon now actually takes care of this, called the marketplace rules, where Amazon, there's a lot of legal issues that happened a few years ago where the courts and Amazon was kind of forced to actually start collecting this tax on behalf of sellers. So Amazon will collect the sales tax for you in the United States in almost every state. I think there's just one or just a handful that they don't, but they're such a small states. I honestly probably wouldn't worry about it too much right now, but they collect it in pretty much everywhere. Now, the state that you set up your business in, you're going to want to get a sales tax ID number. So if you set up your business in Wyoming, because you're international, you're going to need to get a Wyoming sales tax number. If you set up your business in Texas, you're going to need to get a Texas sales tax number. Now, you won't have to collect taxes for your Amazon sales through that, but you will if you do Shopify or you do something else. You're going to need it. And a lot of times when you're applying for credit or you're applying for some other type of business funding or something, you're going to need that sales tax number. So go ahead and get that. You can get that from your local state. Those are usually free as well to get a sales tax ID. And then there's either quarterly or it depends on your state, monthly, quarterly, or annual reporting, where you have to report your sales tax. You don't have to report the tax that Amazon collects. So you don't have to take the tax that Amazon collects and report that. They will report that for you. So any sales that come through Amazon, if they ship it to somebody in Texas, you don't have to go and file sales tax in Texas. Amazon will take care of that under the new marketplace rules. It used to be a lot more complicated, but now it's much better. That's how it works on sales tax. Now you also will get, with your EIN, you'll get what's called a 1099 at the end of the year from Amazon. If you're international, Amazon will send this to you. Sometimes international too, Amazon will withhold if you don't have a U.S. company and you're operating in the U.S. as a foreign entity. Amazon will often withhold about 10%, sometimes more, of your actual earnings to hold back as taxes. You are going to have to file taxes in the U.S. And if you're a U.S.-based business, you're going to get the 1099 usually in January. Amazon will either send you an email and then they'll post it in your Seller Central account. And this is a document that shows how much sales that Amazon made on your behalf for the whole year and how much they paid you. And so these numbers they'll show you the gross sales, not the net sales. So if when your accounting people will know this, so when you get paid from Amazon, you're going to get paid, let's say you made $10,000 on this pay period. Amazon's going to take their fees out, and maybe only $6,000 comes to your bank account after Amazon takes all their fees out. Well, your sales are not $6,000. Your sales are actually $10,000, the total gross. So that's what will be reported on the 1099. But then you get to actually itemize all the fees that Amazon took out. You get to deduct those back off. But that's something that a bookkeeper or the accounting software will help you manage all that stuff. So hopefully this is just some of the basics to help you get set up with selling on Amazon. But there's one other thing though I want to quickly cover. If you're international and you're moving money between the U.S. and your international bank, you're going to get charged with some fees. So if you've set up an Amazon account and you're based, let's say, in Europe, and you're having Amazon pay you to your European bank account in euros, you're going to lose 3 to 4% typically. Amazon's going to take some fees out, and they kind of hide these things. And then you're going to lose some in the exchange as well. So you may end up losing as much as 5-6% depending on the exchange rate when Amazon actually pays you. Now, if you're paying to a U.S. account, then you're going to get straight up U.S. dollars. There's no problem. But you got to. One of the things you might want to consider is if you don't have a U.S. bank account and Amazon's paying you internationally, is use one of the tools from Helium 10 like Alta that will actually take care of those international payments for you. They put them into like a little holding account, and then you can withdraw it as you want, and the fees are much less. So that's something that Helium 10 can offer you to help you save anywhere from 1 to 3%, maybe sometimes even more on those international fees. And if you're a big seller, that can add up to quite a bit of money. So keep that in mind too. So hopefully this has helped you out, and look forward to seeing you in the next module.